Design in Bronson, and I'm an Associate Vice President at Hoefer Welker.
My name is Ogata, and I am a principal at Populous.
Joy Coleman, TreanorHL.
My name is Kwame Smith. I'm a principal at Elisabeth Architecture.
My name is Elisabeth Amirahmadi, and I'm a principal at International Architects Atelier.
I'm Jeff Kloch with Hufft.
My name is Trudy Faulkner. I am an AIA member here in Kansas City, and I work with STRATA Architecture and Preservation.
My name is Joy Swallow, and I actually am retired, and I was professor and department chair of architecture, urban planning, and design at the University of Missouri, Kansas City.
I am currently working on healthcare design. I work on private sector projects and also work on government sector projects.
I'm a director of the design studio, which means we act as a kind of we're a team that works on special projects around the office. So we do a lot of research and development, technology, conceptual design, and we sort of work across all of our Populous network of offices.
My primary focus at the firm is public safety and community rec and federal work. A vast majority of our work is in the public sector. I've had the pleasure of leading and being involved with projects that have really created impacts and have been very impactful in the communities. So it's been a very rewarding experience to be a part of that.
Currently we are working we do quite a bit of higher education, and an exciting project we are close to, well, in October is going to open to the public, is the Kansas City Museum. It has been in the making for a while, but we are very excited, and we have a new school of nursing also finishing construction, and starting quite a bit of other higher education projects right now.
Focal point in architecture is definitely residential. I've done a number of residential projects and remodeling and that sort of thing. So that's really where my main interest lies.
We do historic preservation and higher ed. We do courthouses, jails, and special science type facilities.
So we're doing a lot of multifamily projects. Hospitality is coming back, and so we are kind of getting back into that. And as always, we're single family. We've always got projects around the country.
But we do a lot in the Midwest region, specifically focusing on historic structures and design guidelines for historic downtowns and doing new construction that is appropriate context-wise in existing settings.
What I look for in design excellence is something that's going to jump off the page and just grab me. A lot of project programs will tug at my heartstrings, and I have to push those down a little bit and look at the design quality of what is being proposed and see if it fits within the award parameters. It's got to grab me almost immediately.
I like projects that they make a statement. That is something that it is unique. It's not like what I have seen before. And you can see when a project, when thought has gone into it. Sometimes it comes from the environment, from the context of where it is. Other times it's coming from the function. You really know when a project is just done, like when I say decorating the cake, when it's just only done for the aesthetic value, and I do appreciate the aesthetic value as much as everybody else, but when there is a meaning and a concept behind that design, that for me is when it deserves to get the design award.
When I'm reviewing project award nominations, I'm looking for a depth of level of detail and an overall wow factor in the project as a whole. The details should be well thought out and lend to the overall impact that the project has.
Well, from my perspective, when I look at a project in determining whether it's worthy of a Design Excellence Award. It's really a project that elevates architecture and design. It's one of the things that really compels me to that. I feel like architecture and design should have an impact, should be impactful in the community that it serves, and also have an impactful element to it within the built environment. So looking for architecture that elevates in response to the occupants and the community that it serves.
We always try to find the story in the project. There's always some background or something that leads into that next conversation, and how that gets carried in the future is really important to us. And that's the tagline for our firm is building storied spaces. So that's what we try to do.
And the detailing, is it carefully considered and composed? And I think those are sort of the main things that I looked at overall.
You know, with our company, we do fabrication, and so custom solutions are always great to elevate a project, to make it special, make it part of either something the client can respond to and embrace, or can also connect it to the context. You know, if it's in a city that's got something special, we can pull in something custom. And you know, we do parametric design, which is a tool to, you know, make something unique and specific to a project. So those are opportunities.
When at least I look at a piece of architecture and design, I think it's there's three things primarily I look at. Is the idea clear? Is the resolution of the problem simple and unfuzzy? And is there an aspect of sustainability as part of it? We think that those three things together really can create some powerful architecture.
I see change for the future of architecture. The world is changing. Architecture is always going to mold and shape itself to what's happening in the communities, and I think everyone just needs to be ready for it. It should be expected. With every industrial revolution, you had industrial design with different types of eras that happened in history. You know that architecture either led that change or followed right behind.
I'm gonna speak to my hope. And having started an urban planning and design program, and I am an architect, my hope for the future is that all the design professions, whether they be landscape, urban designers, speak to one another. The problems are too big and too complicated, and I don't think architects alone know all the answers, and that those kinds of relationships need to be really, really tight as we approach these 21st century problems in the world.
Our company is very interested in parametric design, so that becomes a unique opportunity, and it's fun right now. I don't know where that leads. I think it lets us think about how we're designing in a different way, which is fun. I mean, the real world right now is a little bit difficult. We're adapting to what we can get, what materials are available, and so, in the short term, what we're building reflects what's available, it more than it ever has. And I hope that's a really short-term thing, but right now it does affect projects and how we're thinking about them, and so we might have a unique time frame where there's COVID architecture. Yikes, that's scary.
I think just in general, people are becoming more specialized from what we've been seeing, and the being able to work remote has allowed people to work more nationwide, and so establishing that site specific and context related project, I think, is going to become more important. But it's also going to be more of a challenge to do just because of that everyone's working everywhere right now. So I think the future of architecture is really understanding context and carrying that into the next big project, you know, so you're carrying that story through. And I do see the younger generation being more transitional, not really focused in one location, but able to pick up and go and just work universally across the world, not just the US.
Wow, the future of architecture, it's hard to foresee. I see a greater level of specialization happening lately, and I think that will probably continue. But what I hope is also going to happen is the architects taking back control of the management of the project, from conceptual programming all the way through construction, and managing the project for the owner like we used to.
Oh, architecture is always changing. Really trying to figure out architecture, the future of architecture is difficult. Although we have been looking at that very closely because of the current pandemic issues that we've been seeing. Because we have actually seen the importance of public spaces and these places where people are able to come together and have shared experiences are a key part of who we are as human beings. And whereas we may have taken those for granted, I feel that in the past 18 to 20 months, we have seen not just the value of those places and those moments, but also the importance design has into create places where people can do that.
There is a lot of factors happening. I watch HGTV as much as everybody else, and but I feel that there are a couple of things that are undervaluing architecture. One is the when everything seems to be made so easy, and also institutions that they do not value the worth of architecture. I mean, one only needs to just appreciate that. I mean, one of the biggest industry is leisure, is to travel, is to go on vacations, and I mean, tourism is a great market for many cities. And what do people go and do? And it is to view. I mean, why do you go to Europe? What is you see all of this architecture, and it's not just to see. These are structures where we live. And we have to understand, when I enter to building A or building B or building C, how I feel about myself, how I feel about my well-being, about my emotional being, it varies depending on the characteristics of building A to building C. And I feel that now people have forgotten what architecture does to the human being. And institutions are now, I mean, sometimes, I mean, sincerely, we have encountered where they say there is a budget and we are designing something to a budget, and they say it looks too good. It looks like we are wasting our money. And it's like, you should be proud. And that pride on having structures that help the human being, that nurture us, should be rewarded and nothing to be ashamed. And that's the part that concerns me. I just wish people and governments will realize the value of architecture and continue to really develop that. I am not saying that it's gone, but I feel there is appreciation and by certain entities throughout this world of us, but unfortunately, it is not what it used to be. And I think so we as architects, especially in the AIA, is something that we should be working into change for the future if we want to really have a value for what we do and for what architecture does for humanity.
I think the future of architecture, and this would be a hope as well, but that architecture and design plays a bigger part in having and addressing some of the social issues that we have as a society. kind of see that architecture starts to play a bigger role in that. And also, obviously, from an environmental impact as well. So I feel like the future of architecture really will be the vanguard in addressing those issues and providing support environments that do address that.